Hey, how's it going on everybody? My name is Aryan and today we're talking about the Atomos Ninja 5. Let's get started. If you guys don't know what the Ninja 5 is, it's basically an external monitor slash recorder which records 4K up to 60 frames per second in 10-bit 422 color, and it also does ProRes RAW, which is pretty awesome. Alright, to start this video off, I'm going to go over some of the pros of this recorder, what it can do and why I bought it personally, and then near the end we'll go over some of the cons and why you might consider something else. So reason number one is that you're instantly upgrading your footage. So every camera on the market has better external recording specs than internal. It might vary from camera to camera, some are better externally and some are not, but they all pretty much have some sort of a boost in quality when you record externally. Like right now I'm recording on my Sony a7 III and this thing does internally 4K 24 8-bit 420 and externally it would do 4K 24 8-bit 422. Now unfortunately this camera is on the low end side of the bump in quality you're getting, but that doesn't mean it's not a bump. You're still getting better footage. It's just some cameras give you a lot better footage, some are just a little bit. So for example, the Sony a7S III came out a couple days ago and that thing does over HDMI 16-bit RAW, which is just insane, and that's why a recorder like this is kind of future-proofing, because you can get the most out of every camera with an external recorder. And you don't have to worry about any of the overheating issues because it's all done externally and your camera is doing a lot less work than it would normally do. Another great thing about this recorder is that you can pick your format to record in. So I'm sure all the Sony users out there know that the codec the Sony cameras use is just terrible. Like, it's horrible to edit with, it's so compressed and it takes forever to load on the computer, and you end up just using proxies because it's just bad. So with this external recorder, what I can do is I can record in ProRes, so editing is just so much better, smoother and faster. The files are a lot bigger, but still editing is a lot faster, and storage is very cheap these days, so it really doesn't matter. I personally am okay with bigger files if it's making my workflow a lot faster. It's just a fair trade-off for me personally. So the next reason is that there's no record limit. So since your camera is not actually recording the footage, it doesn't know that it's being recorded, so there's no record limit. This actually comes in handy so much because sometimes I sit here talk to myself for like 50 minutes and I really have to set a timer on my phone because you can't really tell when the recording shut off, and it's just a big hassle. So bypassing the record limit, it's amazing. I know a lot of the newer cameras don't have a record limit, but mine still does, and bypassing that is just awesome. So this recorder can also be used as a monitor too. You don't have to use the recording aspect of it. You can just have it. It's a very bright display and it's amazing for shooting outdoors, and it has all the bells and whistles like waveform, zebras, false color, de-stretch, LUTs, everything. So at the end of the day, it's equally as good a monitor that it is a recorder. So if you don't want to use the recording aspect of it, you're still getting great use out of this thing. And plus, you can just use the recording aspect as a backup if you don't want to edit off of those files. So if you have a camera that only has one card slot, you can attach the Ninja 5 to it, and now all of a sudden you can record to your memory card and the Ninja 5. You don't have to use those files, but it's there as a backup, which you didn't have before. And especially for paid gigs, it's really important to have a backup because you never know when something goes wrong. I've personally lost footage in the past and it's not fun, so having a backup, very important. And overall the build quality is just amazing. It's very well built, the monitor is nice and bright, and it has really good software too, which is what you kind of interact with every day. So having great software is the number one thing that I personally look for in a product, because at the end of the day, that's what I interact with all the time. So if that's amazing, I'm gonna have a great time using the product. Alright, so now let's move on to some of the negatives of the Ninja 5. Number one would be it gets kind of pricey. So the recorder itself isn't too expensive. I think it's about 900 Canadian, but it doesn't come with all the parts you need to get it running. Like for example, it doesn't come with the SSD that you need to record the footage. It doesn't come with any of the cables you need to connect it to the camera. And then it doesn't come with any of the cables you need to connect the SSD to your computer. So all of that kind of gets a little pricey, just depending on how much storage you want or whatever parts you decide to go for. So that can get a little bit out of hand. Do I think it's still worth it? Definitely, yeah. It's just not very friendly for like a beginner. If you're just getting into the system, it takes you a while to figure out all the parts you need. Like a simple thing, it doesn't even come with like a mount to mount it to your camera. You gotta buy that separately. So sometimes it can get a little overwhelming to figure out for a beginner. That's about it. So reason number two is that files get really big. So for example, I recorded a little test yesterday and it was a 5-minute clip and it was only 600 megabytes internally and 2.8 gigs over the Atomos, which is pretty big if you think about it, especially if you're recording like an hour-long segment. It gets pretty big, but at the end of the day, it's useful data that you can use in post, and it's mainly because ProRes is not that compressed, so you're getting a better workflow. But if you're somebody who doesn't have access to a lot of storage, or you don't want to invest into SSDs or hard drives, then I can see that becoming a bit of an issue. You can edit straight off of the SSD that you put in there. Do I recommend it? Probably not. You're better off transferring it to your computer, but if storage is an issue, I wouldn't go for it. Alright, so the last issue that I see with it is portability. It's kind of big. It's not too big, definitely for what it does. It's very compact, but it's still bigger than your typical monitor. So if you're somebody who does a lot of run and gun, like weddings, live events, concerts, that kind of thing, it can get a little bit too much to carry around all the time. So that's definitely an issue. If you want something run and gun, super lightweight, this is definitely not what you're looking for. Instead, you should look into something like the Small HD Focus 5 or the Focus 7. Those are just monitors that are pretty lightweight, and there's no other parts to it, just a cable that goes to your camera and a battery. That's it. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope this helped you decide whether to get the Ninja 5 or not. Personally, I've really enjoyed using it. I know I'm not getting a huge boost in quality, but at the end of the day, my workflow has gotten a lot better, and I've just enjoyed using it because of the software, the hardware. It's just all amazing. So my personal recommendation, it's definitely a great product. If you are considering buying one, then there will be a link down below. If you do purchase it through that link, I do get a little bit of a kickback at no additional cost to you, so that just helps out the channel. But I think that's about it. I really hope this video helped you out. If it did, don't forget to leave it a like, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time.